Recently, Subaru released information about the new next generation 2024 Subaru Crosstrek. And it's a little surprising because the Crosstrek's based on the Impreza. And there's no mention of a new Impreza. So did they cancel it? Let's find out. So if you haven't figured it out, the Impreza and Crosstrek are sisters. In fact, the entire interior out of this 2017 Impreza, all the glass, all four doors, the hood, the tailgate, the headlights, the tail lights, can all be swapped onto a 2018 up to 2023 Subaru Crosstrek. Yes, it is literally a lifted Impreza hatchback with some body cladding and a couple different stitching colors changed. The Crosstrek, though, has been a hit for Subaru because crossovers are all the rage. Everybody wants to sit up higher. Everybody wants to have that SUV feel without the SUV fuel economy and kind of loathsome driving. It's easy to drive a Crosstrek. It's easy to drive a crossover in general. The Impreza, though, is responsible for those car-like characteristics because the Crosstrek is literally just based on an Impreza, bolt for bolt, the whole chassis itself. So no, the Impreza isn't going anywhere. It's just somewhere between supply chain hardships and COVID and all sorts of other stuff. The Impreza's just been delayed a little bit longer, and Subaru decided to take that as a point to reset things, because they already have done that with the Legacy and the Outback. Legacy and Outback are kind of like Impreza and Crosstrek because those two cars exist because of the other. The Legacy came first, and then it had the Legacy Outback. That's why sometimes you see an older, like late 90s Outback with a Legacy badge on the back of the tailgate, followed by an Outback badge on the opposite side. It's not because it's two cars, it's because the Outback didn't become its own vehicle until later on, and it still shares a ton of parts with the Legacy. It makes it easier for them to produce. Subaru is a smaller company, so doing things like that makes things easier. But they still offer the Legacy sedan in all-wheel drive. Same thing with the Subaru Impreza. The Impreza in 2012 got its 4th generation redesign, and then the following year it spawned the 1st generation 2013 Subaru Crosstrek. And it was a huge success for Subaru. When they did the next generation, the 2017 Impreza was released, and then the following year, the 2018 Crosstrek got released. So, a little bit strange to have two lines going with older parts and newer parts on the cars, I imagine. The Crosstrek's production is still in Japan. The Subaru Impreza's production was brought to the United States in 2017, and that made things a little bit easier for Subaru in terms of not having to produce last year's model and this year's model at the same time. Logistics and Legos really work out well for Subaru, and so this time to reset, essentially the Crosstrek and Impreza will be on the same year, on the same platform at the same time. They just happened to announce the Crosstrek first and the Impreza second because crossovers get more hype. Same thing with the 2023 refresh of the Outback and Legacy. They told us about the Outback first and the Legacy second. They're both getting their refreshes the same time, but they just space out the announcements. Another sign that's interesting to me is if you look at the dashboard of the new 2024 Subaru Crosstrek. If it looks an awful lot like a WRX dashboard, that's because it is. But, surprisingly, that WRX, the 2022 WRX, is built on this 2017 Impreza's chassis, which tells me that the new Crosstrek is really not all that different from the current offering. They've probably just made improvements to ride quality, maybe some room here and there, but for the most part, the Crosstrek is going to be based, and the Impreza for that matter, are going to be based on a very similar to this generation chassis with a few tweaks just to improve things. Now, the Subaru Global Platform can still be electrified. It was designed to be. And when I say electrified, I don't mean they just dunk it in the water and throw a live wire in there. No. The Subaru Global Platform is designed so that way you can do EVs and plug-in hybrids and all that fun stuff with it. In fact, they've done that with the Crosstrek just a little bit for those lucky 10 states that get Crosstrek plug-in hybrids. Yay, compliance vehicles. But anyways, so the Impreza and the Crosstrek aren't that dissimilar from their current offerings, just refined and just changed and modernized a little bit. But there's one more thing that I want to tell you about the new 2024 Impreza. And that's a badge that might be coming back. 2 letters, not 3. No, the STI isn't coming back. In the late 90s, Subaru had a vehicle called the Impreza 2.5 RS. And this vehicle was instrumental in getting enthusiasts hyped about WRXs and about rally and all that other stuff. All the things that I love. So much so that I've actually owned 2 Impreza 2.5 RSs. And they've become iconic and lost time as the WRX and the WRX STI surpassed them in performance. Subaru stopped offering that package. But with the STI gone, and with now they're starting to have performance options for the Legacy. The Sport now has the turbocharged engine in it now. The Crosstrek just got a Sport with the 2.5 in it. And that's right, 2.5 getting shoehorned into this Impreza could really wake it up in the best way possible. Because the 2-liter that's in the Impreza isn't bad, but when you're giving a Sport badge to it, it does feel a little anemic. And that power upgrade, while still being naturally aspirated and still using regular gas, could be just the ticket that the Impreza needs to get a little bit more hype about it, get some more sales going, and revitalize the badge. Not just the RS badge, but just the Impreza name in general. So what do you think? Do you think that the Impreza RS is going to make a comeback? Do you think the Impreza is just doomed anyways and it's just going to get lost in a sea of crossovers instead? Leave a comment, put a like down there, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. It's so fun making these, and we'll see you on the next one.